Hey everybody, this is Brandon Ford and welcome to the Blind Rage podcast. This week we are doing Frank Henenlotter's cult classic Basket Case, starring Kevin Van Hentenryck and Beverly Bonner. And I am using the Blu-ray edition that came with in the steelbook with the other two films, so I'm not sure exactly which edition that is. I wanted to do the most, well, I think it's the most recent one, because there have been a few DVD issues of this, I think a handful actually, but I wanted to do the one that has the Slash of the Knife short film on it, but I don't know where the fuck it is, even though I'm pretty sure that most of my Blu-rays are in alphabetical order and I couldn't find it, and it's not like it really matters anyway because I was just going to be listening to the audio, and I doubt there's much of a difference. Totally unnecessary tangent. So if you want to watch along, I don't really think it matters which version of the film you watch because I'm pretty sure they're all the same, unless you're watching I think even the media VHS is uncut. So the only cut version was a theatrical, but then they released it uncut. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. And there's no distributor logo at the beginning of the film, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, before we get started with the film, I want to get the usual plugs out of the way. Please don't forget to check out my books in paperback and Kindle editions by going to Amazon.com or the Amazon app, typing in Brandon Ford. There you'll find my titles as well as my Amazon author page. You can also find my titles in audiobook format by going to audible.com or opening the Audible app, typing in Brandon Ford. You'll find several of my titles there. If you don't already, please follow me on Instagram at writer Brandon Ford. You can also follow me on Twitter at Brandon Ford. And lastly, if you would like to reach out and touch me, I don't know why saying that makes me giggle. If you want to drop me a message, a personal message, you could send me a message on Instagram, or you can email me directly at blindragepod81@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, suggestions, criticisms, recommendations for future episodes. Also, I just want to add, it only takes 2 seconds to add a star rating to the podcast. Even if you don't like it, even if it's not a 5-star rating or review, it's just a couple seconds, especially if you're using the Apple Podcast app. Just drop down, select a star rating, submit. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. And I'm a tiny bit happier. Yeah, okay. Also, I don't say this ever, but if you like the podcast, I know there's got to be a few of you out there who do, pass the word around. Tell your friends who enjoy movie commentaries to check it out. I know I can't be the only one who listens to movie commentaries and likes them, so... And I take this very seriously, unlike some people who, don't. They shall remain nameless. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to begin with a 3 count, so if you're watching along, make sure you have your movie queued up and ready to go, because we are beginning in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, shut up. It would figure that as soon as I start the movie, I touch my phone. Now shut up. Okay, so this is Basket Case, and because Frank has spoken so much and at length about the film in interviews, commentaries, documentaries, There's and plus there's an awful lot about the movie out there on IMDb and Wikipedia. I think it would be rather pointless for me to just rehash a lot of or regurgitate a lot of stuff that people already know. So I'm going to veer away from that. If something does strike me as being noteworthy, I will mention it. But I think that I'm just going to talk about my own personal opinions on the film and probably some of my fandom for Frank. I'm going to talk about this opening scene here. By the way, as much as I love Frank and his movies, I probably haven't seen this one as many times as I've seen something like Frankenhooker, which is right up there with the some of the movies that I've seen more than any other, you know. I've seen this several times, but I wouldn't say that I've seen it so many times that I know it verbatim. So there will definitely be scenes and moments in which I'm not sure what's going on. I do remember this opening scene, though, where I believe this is the father of fuck, what the fuck is his name? Dwayne Bradley. And I believe, yeah, I think he's the first kill. He gets cut in half, and when he goes in the basement, and I think this was the, yeah, I think this is the basement that was shot at the Hellfire Club, and you could see the glory holes in the wall. I don't know. I wonder a little bit about Frank Henenlotter's sexual proclivities, if he is able to get into the Hellfire Club in order to do these scenes, or want to get into the Hellfire Club in order to do these scenes. Yeah, that's good. Just fire a gun inside the house repeatedly. And Frank's orientation is a question mark to me. He's not married, I know that, and it's really none of my business, and I really don't care. But when there is a lot of homoeroticism in the movie. No, that wasn't the father. That comes later. That was one of the doctors. Yeah, the father gets cut in half. I know that scene, and that scene where all you see is his like from his calves down, and they fall over to insinuate that he'd been cut in half. They do pretty much the exact same thing in Wrong Turn 2, and I'm pretty sure that was a rip-off. But yeah, that's the scene with the father, and that scene always kind of, I don't know, made me feel a little because this guy who plays the father is up there in age, really skinny, and doesn't have any muscle definition at all whatsoever. Yet he felt compelled to shave his chest, and he just looks weird. He just looks like an overgrown little boy with a man's head. And I think he probably thought he was looking mighty fucking sexy. So, yeah. This is the Hotel Broslin, and as everybody knows, the Hotel Broslin does not exist. This is an apartment building, and that little office space, I guess that it's supposed to be, that counter space, front desk space, where I don't know what the hell his title is he's standing behind. That's the elevator, to which they jam the doors open. Yeah, and then the outside of where the sign hangs is Kevin Van Henenrich's apartment building. So they had that sign built, made, and hung and lit. I don't know how with a movie as low budget as this, I don't know. I would think that something like that would take up the majority of the budget, which was not very much. And yeah, um, they shot this on weekends over the course of a year. This was shot on 16, and I noticed that because it was shot in 16 and it was supposed to be shot 133, and so it's supposed to be 4 by 6. It's not supposed to be widescreen. That's not the way it was shot, so it was not the way it was meant to be seen. And I believe the blue, I can't say it. I can't tell. I have no idea. But I believe the Blu-ray has the black bars on the left and right sides of the screen, or at least one of the Blu-rays does. And I noticed that on Tubi there's a widescreen version, so they must have cropped it. So that is not the way the movie was meant to be seen. And I doubt it was done with Frank's approval, because Frank, in all of the Blu-rays that have been released, I think it was they were all full frame. And I believe he said something about when he did try to blow it up in 35, it looked really bad because of the what do you call it? I don't remember. There's a better term for it, but he said there's some distortion and crater-like distortion on the screen, and to him it was unwatchable. And I think that's why he didn't want it to. I'm sure that, well, I'm positive that there's a way, or it could be polished to the point where it's pristine for the Blu-ray release, if he wanted to go frame by frame by frame and create a widescreen edition. But I don't think Frank wants to do that. And this movie did get a fair amount of remastering and remastering, because it seems like they tried to make it look better and better with each Blu-ray release. There's something weird. And then this one, I don't remember who released this steelbook. This was actually the first steelbook that I bought, and I didn't even realize that, steelbooks were a thing. I just thought, oh, this is neat. It's in a nice little metal booklet thing. And yeah, and this version has all of the extras, I believe all the extras that are on the Something Weird video, and the In Search of the Hotel Braslin documentary, the trailer, the TV spots, the outtakes, all that stuff. But I don't know. Even though I can't see it, I still prefer the newer one with Slash of the Knife on it. And Frank recorded 2 different commentary. Oh, there's also a feature. I think it's feature length. It's about an hour, 15 minutes, something like that, of a feature length commentary. I mean, the documentary on the making of the film, with a lot of interviews with the cast and crew. And Kevin Van Hentenrich looks kind of weird. I don't know. His hair is totally gray, but his face doesn't look that old. and he's always smiling, and his smile is creepy, and he wears these odd glasses, and this is just me. I'm not saying I know anything, or because I don't know anything, but from the way he looks and the way he smiles and the way he looked at the screen, at least from what I remember from watching the documentary the first time, he just looks like someone. If I had a child, I would not want to leave said child alone in a room with him. That's all I'm saying. But there's also Beverly Bonner. My God, has milked and milked and milked this movie for all it's worth, because she really doesn't have anything else going on, nor does she have really any talent. I mean, she's fine in this movie, and so she does, or I don't know if she still does. She probably does, because she needs to earn a living. She needs to pay the rent. But she does some weird stage production of Basket Case, and they show clips of it in the documentary. And it's the notorious scene, kind of notorious, I guess, in the bar where they're surrounded by beer cans, Budweiser beer cans, and Dwayne is drunk, and he's telling her all about Belial. And by the way, I've never been to a bar where you can get beer by the can ever. It's either a pint or a bottle. I've never cans. No. So yeah, and those were the first. Frank has said this many times, but he was at Nathan's having a hot dog, and in on Coney Island, and this backstory about Belial, it was the first thing, or Dwayne and Belial. That was the first thing that he wrote on some napkins, and writing things on napkins is so terribly cliched, I have to say. Yeah, the stage production. They show her doing the stage play of of that scene, and it's pretty much verbatim from the script, from what I remember, and I'm not going to name names, but if you look, you can find out who it is. But there is a certain person who has a podcast, and I'm not going to say what kind of podcast it is. I'm not going to say who does. I don't want to make it too easy for you, because I don't want to start any trouble. But there's this person. It's a he. This person is a he. And, well, I probably could tell the story or say who he is, because he told the story on his podcast, so he probably doesn't give a shit. But still, I don't want to name names. But this person told this story on his podcast about working on the stage production of Basket Case with Beverly Bonner on an episode of his podcast from a while back. Not too long ago, but he said that I think, I'm almost positive that part was ADR, Beverly's dialogue anyway. I don't know why my voice is crackly tonight. So yeah, he said that working with Beverly was very difficult. She was very temperamental, and there were times when she was downright nasty, and she did not like it at all if you deviated from the script or did anything to improvise, or did any kind of improvisation rather, because she constantly wanted the spotlight to be on her. She didn't want anything to be taken away from her. So if you tried anything, you would get chewed out. Much like it's pretty much the same exact story with Will Smith when he was doing Fresh Prince. Cause all eyes gotta be on Will at all times, and that's a pretty well-known fact, I guess. I can't remember her name. I didn't look up anything whatsoever because I wasn't planning on doing this. I was actually planning on doing a, a TV commentary, but the disc wasn't working, and this is a movie that I wanted to do a commentary for. I just wasn't planning on doing it tonight necessarily, or maybe I was, depending on how I felt after I did the TV show commentary. But the disc for the TV show started freezing. I couldn't get it to work. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I might need a new player. And so yeah, I have everything set up, and I didn't feel like putting everything away without at least, you know, getting something done. And I'm not someone who just sits at my desk to do the majority of these commentaries. I have to have a whole setup, a very elaborate setup, by the way. And I'm not going to bore you with the details of it, but it requires me assembling things and then disassembling things, and yeah, I didn't, once everything was out, I didn't feel like putting it back. So I didn't want to, Terry Sue Smith, I think her name is, I think that's it. The one playing the secretary with the terrible, terrible wig. And as Frank has said a million times, she wore the wig because she had shaven her head because she was in a punk band at the time. But I guess he liked her so much. She's not bad in the movie. She's fine. She's not, nobody in the movie is great. I think everybody is good enough. So what's in the basket? Easter eggs? That would get really, really old to walk around with that wicker basket and have everybody saying what's in the basket constantly. I'm going to say this. Yeah, I am keeping in mind that this is a very low budget movie and they did not have the money. I don't know why she takes such offense to him not seeing the sights in New York. I mean, my God. She actually gets pissed off because he hasn't seen anything. And he literally just got to New York the day before. Like, calm down. And even if he doesn't see the sights, what the fuck do you care? Anyway, I know that this was a very, very low budget movie and they didn't have the money for state-of-the-art special effects. And I think a lot of the money for the effects went into the creation of Belial, which you can't really tell from what I remember. Began with a mold of Kevin's face. That's Kevin's face on Belial. It doesn't look anything like him, I guess because he's been put through so much. And he's just a big glob. And there's no detailing, there's no color, there's no eyeballs, I don't think. But nevertheless, it doesn't look like him at all. So I bring up the special effects for this scene right here where he goes to see the doctor and he takes his shirt off and you see the scar going down the side of his torso. And Frank has complimented that makeup and I always thought it looked awful. It does not look like a scar at all. It doesn't even look like flesh. It looks kind of like paper mache, or like fucking spackle. It looks like if you touched it, it would just flake right off. It doesn't look good. I'm sorry. It looks terrible. Um, there's one thing that I wanted to mention. That I thought was funny. Eh, um, I haven't seen Chasing Banky, which is the latest movie that Frank did, which took a long time. Was a long time between it and Bad Biology, and between Bad Biology and Basket Case 3, that was 13 years, and I don't think anybody thought that Frank, I keep saying John because I'm thinking about John Waters, because I always think of John Waters, he's so dreamy, you gorgeous man, what was I saying? Yeah, I haven't seen Chasing Banky. I don't know where to see it. I don't want to pay to rent it on Netflix or Amazon Prime. I don't even know if you can anymore. There doesn't appear to be a DVD or a Blu-ray. I would buy it because even if the movie isn't good, Frank's commentary alone would make it worth it, because his commentaries are always fantastic. But before Chasing Banky, which is a drama set in New York about New Yorkers and their drama. I don't know what the fuck it's about. I just know it's a drama, and from what Frank has said about it in interviews, it is very much out of his wheelhouse. But I guess because he's getting up there in age, he wanted to do something different, and perhaps he had the idea for a drama for a very long time, and he wanted to execute it, so, good for him. I hope it's good. I hope to one day at least listen to it, if I can find a copy. But anyway, before Chasing Banky, as I said, was Bad Biology. Before Bad Biology, there were a few projects that were up in the air that Frank was supposedly working on. However, the only one that ever made it to IMDb as part of, as being in pre-production, was Sick in the Head. And I believe that was supposed to be, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be a collaboration with R.A. the Rugged Man. And I would very much have liked to have seen it, because that's a great title, first of all. And I really liked what he and R.A. did for Bad Biology. I didn't think that I would, because R.A. is a rapper, and I knew going in that the soundtrack was going to be heavily rap oriented, and I'm not really into rap or hip hop, but it doesn't take anything away from the film itself. So if they were able to make something as crazy and as off the wall as Bad Biology, I'm sure Sick in the Head would have been good. I would have liked for them to have teamed up for something after Bad Biology, something in between it and Chasing Banky, but Frank has done so much documentary work over the years. He's either working on his own documentaries, or he's a talking head in other people's documentaries, or he's doing something with something weird. So he's working all the time. He's always doing something. This is a very, very long and very unnecessary anecdote. And the payoff is not going to be worth it, I promise you. But I thought it was funny. I don't even know how I came across it, but on Amazon, there is a Kindle book titled Sick in the Head, and the author is listed as Dwayne Bradley. And so, yeah, I guess that's something that Frank wrote, because Frank never writes anything on his own, and I don't think he's ever written prose before. He's only ever written screenplays, at least that I know of. Well, no, I mean, well, yeah, he's written articles and shit, but as far as fiction, I don't think he's ever written anything. So I'm sure he had some help from someone, but I haven't checked Audible lately, so I don't know if there's an audiobook for it. If there is, I would really like to hear it, even though it's very short. The Kindle edition says the page length is about 80, so it's a novella, technically. But yeah, it's listed as being written by Dwayne Bradley, which I thought was funny the first time I saw it. And this is another one of the doctors who separated Dwayne and Belial. If I ever had a pet, I would name him Belial. But that's one of those names where, because you know, if you have a dog, and I don't have a dog, but I do know this. But if you have a dog and you're walking him, you know, there's always people who stop you and say, "Can I pet your dog?" And inevitably, there's, "What's your dog's name?" And if you say Belial, you know it's going to be, "Huh? Belial. What? Belial. Okay." I can't fucking tell you how many times when Decayed Etchings, that's Decayed Etchings, which is my collection, my first collection of short stories, was in the process of being published, and I was waiting for it to come out, and people were asking me, you know, "What are you working on now? Do you have any new books coming out?" "Yeah, I have a new collection coming out, a short story collection. It's called Decayed Etchings." "Huh? Decayed Etchings? What is it called?" Decayed Etchings. I literally, I swear to God, I shit you not, I said this to somebody, and I don't want to say who, but he was sitting next to his girlfriend, and I said it like 3 times, and he had to turn to her and say, "What did he say? Like, am I speaking Greek? Are the words decayed and etchings so foreign? Do they not belong together? I don't know." But that's undoubtedly what would happen if I named my dog, my non-existent dog, Belial. So I'll just have to name him like Jimmy or something.
Don't forget the address book. Hurry up, I'll be outside.
Kevin Van Hentenrich's hair is fucking ridiculous in this movie. And he had to keep that hairstyle for a whole fucking year while they were doing this movie. And what is interesting about the hair is when they did Basket Case 2, it takes off literally right after the end of part 1, and you know, and it's kind of funny because he fell from, what is it, the second or third story, and you think he's dead. You think both he and Belial are dead, but not only is he not dead, he's bandaged and he's walking. But as he's getting in a car and going off to that, whatever the fucking place is called for the special people, he's got all the bandages covering his head and his face. You know, I think only one eye is visible, but you can clearly see the back of his hair and that it's cut. He cut it short, and I don't know why they didn't bother to put a wig on him for that one scene, because they put the awful wig on him for his little cameo in Brain Damage. So I don't know, but that hair is bad. It's really, really fucking bad. I'm trying to think if he's been in any other movies besides the basket case movies. And that cameo. I don't know. It's just so funny that when you listen to Frank talk about a lot of what made up many of the sets, primarily like the hotel room and the hallway outside. It's like cardboard piping and shit, and a lot of it was garbage picked. I really just, I don't know why, but I think it's funny. Wait, this part here, I think it is. When wait, yes, Belial, if you got the address book, and you just see Belial just casually hand him a Rolodex. I don't know. I just think it's cute. And I'm waiting for it, like I can see it.
Did you get his address book?
There it is.
Cutter's listed. He's got her address. We're in luck.
The flashback sequence is so. Oh god, the kid who plays the young Dwayne is really, really, really bad. And I hate to say that about child actors, but Frank complimented his performance. I have no idea why, but it seems very much like Frank told him while he's being dragged to the dining room to be operated on to just keep screaming, "No, God, no. Oh God, no, help." Because that's all he says over and over and over and over and over again in a completely wooden tone. And I don't think he's kicking or thrashing or doing anything. He's really not putting up much of a fight. He's just doing, he's just trying to wail, and it's unconvincing. But I always thought it was so I mean, this is not a movie, again, to be taken seriously. This is a midnight movie. This is a cult film. But I always thought it was so fucked up that after they detach Belial, they just put him in the garbage. Jesus. They just put him in the fucking garbage. And the kid didn't know how to say his name. You would think that Frank would have told him that, how to pronounce Belial correctly, because Belial is communicating, I guess, telepathically with him at this point. That's when they first start communicating with each other, and young Dwayne is trying to find him, and he says, "Is that you, Belial?" No. Oh, I was saying about the props and shit. The toilet that Belial hides in after he, makes the big calamity in the room and starts throwing shit, and which is all really bad. Not CGI. Stop motion. Yeah, that toilet bowl was totally just picked out of the garbage, or at a dump or something.
You're not mad? You dummy! I suggested we tour the
the city for the same reason you went along with it. I wanted to be with you too.
Oh, love story.
Dwayne. I know an awful lot of guys, Dwayne. But you're different.
Yeah, you could say that again.
Girls upstate?
Well, I keep pretty much to myself.
You're a dying breed, Dwayne.
This is very Maniac-esque. This is, I think this is around, yeah, this is I think around where they shot the opening scenes in Maniac. Belial is pissed. And he's definitely not somebody that you want to piss off. And oh my god, I can't imagine how long it took for Frank to do the stop motion of Belial slamming the bedpost. Because he literally had to go back and forth, lift up the bedpost, take a shot of it, go back, kneel down, put the bedpost down, go back, take a shot of it, go back, lift up the bedpost, up and down, back and forth, and he said he did it over 1,000 times. And then the next day he got a really, really bad pain, I think in his lower back, and he was convinced he had cancer immediately. And I think he told whoever he was with about the pain, and and his friend was like, of course you have lower back pain, you just did like 1,800 leg, here it is with the slamming of the bedpost. You just did like 1,800 squats. I apologize, I can't remember the name of the actor who plays the landlord, but he has passed away. He passed away a long time ago. I believe he passed away before the 20th anniversary. Unless they climbed out the window. Alright, we get it. Did they even look in the bathroom? I don't remember. Hoping you can't hear it, but it just started pelting rain here.
Look, if this happens again, I don't know. What do I know? I don't even run the place. Why should anybody tell me anything? I don't know. Why should I know anything?
That seemed like that seemed like an improv or an ad lib, that line where he says, if this happens again, I don't know. Why should anybody tell me anything? I only run the place. You're combining two different sentiments. Doesn't make any sense. I don't like people who ad lib or improvise when they're not good at it. It's really, really painful. improvisation should be left to skilled professionals. Ugh. Now, I don't believe anybody comes to O'Donoghue's aid. Now, how come everybody came out of their rooms and was coming to the door? I mean, there's got to be some ruckus going on aside from the screaming while O'Donoghue's getting killed. Oh no, they do. That's right. That's right. And you see the African American cop who is too short, and they make him walk on apple boxes. Well, O'Donoghue was a thief, so it's kind of hard to feel bad for him.
All right, kid, go out, clear the lobby, will ya? Come on! Come on, Marlon, outside. Let's go. Clear it. What happened? Somebody killed O'Donovan. They ripped him to
O'Donovan, whatever.
Cops are grilling everyone.
You can't come in here. Get out of here!
You heard what they said. He killed O'Donovan. I don't want him killing you.
Thanks, you've been very helpful. We'll probably have more.
I think it was a bad bit of direction on Frank's part when whatever the hell her name is
Would you hold it a minute?
runs down the stairs, and then she just turns around and screams Dwayne's name and then continues on out the door. Like, what the fuck was the point of that?
Any animals in there?
No, nothing. Why?
Well, one of your neighbors, Mr. Brian Mickey O'Donovan, was murdered a few hours ago. And we're just questioning everybody in the building. Mind if we come in?
No.
Either this detective is really really short, or
On a rampage.
Kevin is really tall.
Who it was? No, I don't know. I was out. What happened? That was an accident. It happened last night. We went out for burgers and we... No. Me. Just me. And you don't own any pets? No dogs or anything? No. What's in the basket?
I remember, this is such another stupid anecdote, but I remember, this was so long ago, this was like
Around like that?
before my vision got really bad. I was going to visit a friend to drop off a birthday present, and in Center City here in Philly, it's a lot like
Prove where you were.
it's a lot like New York, you know. It's very similar. And
How long are you gonna
I was at night, and I was walking
come back again?
down the street, passing all these businesses with a knapsack on, and I was holding his present, which I could only fit into two boxes, and I didn't want to drop them or anything, so I put them both in a bag, and I had this big bulky bag that I was carrying in front of me while I was walking down the street, and I felt very much like Dwayne holding the basket, walking down, walking, what is it, 42nd Street? The 42nd Street area? That was totally guerrilla style filmmaking too, because they didn't get any permits or anything to film that scene.
Are you crazy?
They
You
just
had us arrested.
had him walking and shot from an open van.
Wait a minute. Hold it. All right. All right. Okay. Yes, I was with a girl. Yes, the receptionist. Yes, I lied to you. No, I didn't go to Dr. Cutter's. I knew if I told you, you'd get mad. We didn't do anything. She just showed me around, that's all. I'm not deserting you. I just wanted some time for myself. Look, I've helped you with everything so far, haven't I? Killing Lifflander was your idea. Coming to New York to get the other two was your idea.
He doesn't get so jealous in part 2 when Dwayne meets that other girl, Susan.
Of course you're right. They deserve what they get.
But
All I'm saying is it's been your idea.
Belial gets a girlfriend too. That sex scene is so
Haven't I?
weird, and it makes me so uncomfortable. Even though they're just two puppets fucking, it just, I think it's their reaction when they're fucking, because it's like puppet porn. It's so fucking odd. That's probably a thing. There's a fetish for just everything is fetishized, so it wouldn't surprise me if there were people who got off on puppets fucking. Somebody whacking off to that Melissa McCarthy movie.
You really do New York in style. First the Bronx and now this place. You come here often.
Kate, Beverly Bonner has been in all of Frank's features, and this is the only one that she has
Tell you what. Why don't you and that
a supporting role. The rest of them are all tiny bit parts or cameos, but she's always credited as Casey. So now they're sitting at the table surrounded by Budweiser cans. I doubt they got I doubt they got permission from Budweiser.
you're a mailman?
I have to say, as you know, mediocre. It's not bad. It's not terrible as a lot of the acting is. At least the drunk this drunk scene isn't, because I've said this before so many times, watching certain actors play drunk is fucking painful, but when they try to slur and shit, but they're just being really silly and laughing, which I would prefer in a performance of somebody playing drunk.
Our mother died giving birth to us. He was attached to my right side.
This is kind of freaky where
They kept us hidden. We were the big
everything is like all, you know, smiles and laughter, and then all of a sudden he gets very serious, and I don't even think he realizes what the fuck he's saying.
scene. Not even by me sometimes. And you know what?
But he's like divulging his whole
Up here.
truth.
Without words, I just hear him whispering in my brain. Sometimes he talks for hours and won't shut up. I used to be able to talk to him like that, but that's when we were still connected. Our aunt said it was our special gift, but since we've been separated, I can't do it anymore. But he can still do it to me. In fact, he's even better at it now. He always knows what I'm thinking.
Wayne, you're giving me the creeps.
They didn't want him to live, but he fooled them. He didn't die. He just got strung. was like. Dwayne and I kept hidden from everyone. We're both of us so messed up. I don't know which one of us is worse.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent performance on Kevin's part, I would say. This is good scene, rather.
It should be dead instead of my wife. How could you let it be born? Why didn't you kill it before it killed her? And then, after they tell me my wife died, after they tell me my child is a twisted lump of flesh, then she tells me I need two names for it. One for the child and one for the monster. As if I had two sons instead of one freak. It's not mother! You want a name for it? I'm about to kill her! A murderer!
The boy is how old now? 12?
You mean boys? There are two.
Boys. Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
They're upstairs.
And just how long have you actually tutored the child?
Children. I've been with them since they were born.
As their aunt, I'm sure you're doing what you think best. I've got a copy of your teaching certificate as well as the school board's report. However, the state does have final say, and I must examine the boy for myself before any tutoring can replace proper schooling. Now you do understand.
I think this is the impetus
Can't they?
for the
Couldn't they
separation.
have an operation?
It's not that simple.
With the way they're connected, I wouldn't. What the fuck? What does he do with his arm? Like, how do you just like keep your arm elevated all the time, or do you keep it behind Belial? What do you do? I don't understand.
We don't have time. It must be done now, while my sister-in-law's away.
When
Second thoughts. I've had 12 years of Dr. Second Thoughts.
after Basket Case 3,
Well, you sure as hell know if it was something.
Frank tried to get different movies made. He had written several scripts. I believe he'd written several scripts or treatments. And he met with several studio heads, and nobody seemed interested. He was going to make something with Stuart Gordon at one point. I think that was Insect City. But that never came to be. And I remember reading an article before Bad Biology because I was curious to know where the hell he'd been, what happened to him, why Basket Case 3 was his last movie, or why it had been so long since he'd done anything else. And he said inevitably what would happen at the... Oh, here's this kid.
Stop fighting, goddammit! Just going into the dining room, Dwayne. Now stop it!
Won't hurt, Dwayne. I promise you, this won't hurt.
Help! Help! No! No! Dwayne, hold still!
Don't fight. I'm only trying to help you.
You've got to hold him still.
Goddammit!
Hold his arms.
Help! God, no! Goddammit, Dwayne, hold still! No! God, no! Help!
No, it's this like the same thing over and over. God, no help. No, no, God, no help. Help, help, God, no help. Some of this had to be ADR. Anyways, I was saying, I was reading this article online. I don't remember. This was so long ago because I wanted to know what the hell he'd been up to for all these years and where he'd been and why he hadn't made any other movies. And he was talking about the change to the video market in the 90s. And it's very true that the video market did change dramatically in the early 90s. And whenever he would do a meeting with a potential distributor, you know, they didn't really seem interested in any of his original projects, and it always came down to, well, what about Basket Case 4? And he didn't even want to do Basket Case 3. I'm not exactly sure why he did it, but he did. And he's always said he has a, I don't know. He said he has, I guess it's a love-hate relationship with it. I've always heard for years and years and years that he hates it so much. And then I've heard in more recent interviews with him when it comes up that he has days where he hates it and days where he likes it. But I did hear him speak about the end result and how unhappy he was with it initially and how difficult it was to film and how he was writing scenes during production, which is never, ever, ever a good sign that a movie's going to turn out well. And I don't really think that Basket Case 3 has much of a following at all. I know people like part 2. I don't like the end. I don't like the ending of part 3. I think the ending is really dumb, and you can tell that he just, he couldn't think of anything. I bet he couldn't think of a better way to end the movie. So it was definitely him. That was definitely Frank phoning it in. That ending. What the fuck? I didn't know that Gabe Bartalos, who did the effects for Frankenhooker, Basket Case 2, I think he did Brain Damage, and I would assume he did Basket Case 3, but I didn't know that he worked on Spookies. But he did. And there's a funny story about him in the documentary about Spookies that's on the Blu-ray, the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. And by the way, I was going to say, first of all, from what you see of Gabe in interviews, he doesn't look like a very large man. He looks like an average sized guy. He doesn't look very bulky or muscular or anything like that. He just looks like average build, average height, but supposedly he's huge, strong, like a football player type. And there's a funny story about Spookies. He wanted money for some special effect. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was the producer said, "Yeah, I'll get it for you. I'll be right back." And he went to leave to get in his car, not knowing that Gabe had followed him. And Gabe lifted the front of the car up and held it and said, "Am I getting my money?" And yeah, the only way he was going to get his money.
God damn it, Dwayne, if that's you down there, you better answer me.
But yeah, I think that's funny that he was able to lift the car up with this guy in it. I don't know what kind of car it was. It couldn't have been anything huge, because you still got to be pretty strong to lift up a fucking car. But Gabe was about to go all Hulk smash on his ass if he didn't get his money. I think this is the part with the father and his weird shaven chest trying to be all sexy. He's just oozing sexuality. Yeah, I never noticed the glory holes in the walls because there's so much like junk and shit. Because it's supposed to be a cluttered basement, but there's so much junk and shit that covers up a lot of it, and a lot of it is in shadow. And So I never really noticed it before, noticed them before, but apparently they're visible, and they're probably even more visible on the Blu-ray. I think this is when he steps on a fucking nail. And if I stepped on a fucking nail, I would be doing a lot more than an owl. There go the legs.
It's all right now. Everyone's gone.
I think that is the only scene from Wrong Turn 2 that I actually remember.
Find no evidence of who killed
That they were the scene, because I guess because they ripped off basket case.
on your brother and that he died and was removed from your side. I'm not going to ask you what really happened. I know that you and your brother have gone through hell. Everyone thinks Belial is dead now, and we'll let it safe it that way. But I'm here now to take care of you. Both of you.
I don't remember who actually killed the father. If it was Dwayne, Belial, or her.
Art thou afraid? No, monster, not I. Be not afraid. The isle is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears.
Twangling
Sometimes
instruments.
voices
What the fuck is
that if I
twangling?
waked after long sleep will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming, the clouds we thought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me. That when I waked, I cried to dream again.
Hmm. Oh, I was going to say, I wonder how Frank feels about doing a basket case 4 now. Not that I think there's any need for one, but I wonder if he would be open to it. I doubt it, but it would be something I would be interested in hearing his thoughts on. It's interesting that he never did sequels for any of his other movies besides Basket Case. But then again, he's not a very prolific filmmaker. Let me count. Hold up. We got Basket Case. We got Basket Case, then Brain Damage, then Frankenhooker, Basket Case 2, Basket Case 3, Bad Biology, and Chasing Becky. 7 movies.
Okay, baby.
We're not counting documentaries. I don't know. I think sometimes that he's more passionate about being a film historian and preserving films than he is about actually making his own. I don't know. I think if he were more passionate about making his own films, he would have found a way to make. Well, I know why he didn't make a movie in between Basket Case 3 and Bad Biology is because he couldn't find financing, and they didn't have things like Indiegogo and shit back then. But now it's easier, especially if you already have a following, to get a movie made. However, I think it's interesting though that Clint Howard couldn't even raise enough money to get Ice Cream Man 2 made, because God knows what the world needs is a sequel to Ice Cream Man. But people like that movie for some fucking reason. one thing I never understood on totally, well, this isn't totally unrelated, but I have been very outspoken about my fandom for D. Snyder's Strangeland. I did a commentary for Strangeland on B Movie Bonanza some years back. I would like to do a new commentary for it, but I would like to do new commentaries for movies that I did in the B Movie Bonanza days, but the only way I would like to do that is if I had somebody to do them with me, because I doubt that I will be able to think of anything new to say, because my stories on B Movie Bonanza are generally about how I discovered the films. But Strangeland, yeah, there was so much up in the air about Strangeland 2. It was happening, then it wasn't happening. It was happening, then it wasn't happening. And that went on and on and on from after Strangeland wrapped, because on the Strangeland DVD commentary, D had said he was talking about the prospects of doing a Strangeland 2, and then he'd already had the script written, and he had a way to make the character return believably. I don't see how that's possible. If you watch Strangeland and you see how Captain Howdy dies at the end of the movie, there's really no believable way to make him come back unless there's some sort of supernatural component to the film. But yeah, I know that it wasn't down to financing the film necessarily. It was all about the Shooting Gallery, which was a company that owned the rights to the film, and them going under, and then there was lawsuits over the rights of the film, and blah 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 blah. And he was trying to get Strangeland 2 made up until 2015, and it was even confirmed at one point, Strangeland 2, it's happening in 2015, and no, nothing. So what I would like to know is, why didn't he just make another movie? If you can't get financing for one, just write something else. And maybe down the road, you'll get the financing for Strangeland 2. I would very much like to see what else he could do, what else he would write, because he's very intelligent. I think he's a good writer, although a lot of people don't like Strangeland. But yeah, Strangeland, the dialogue is very well written. When you listen to him talk, he's very, very intelligent. And I think he came up with a very unique villain with the Captain Howdy character, and I think he could do it again if he wanted to. And again, we come back to Rob Zombie, whose movies are fucking shit, yet for some reason he keeps getting them financed. I don't even think they make money anymore. I don't think his movies have made any money since the first Halloween. I don't think Halloween 2 made really any money. That's probably why everything after that was independent. And I think about, I don't know, 2 people saw 3 from Hell, and the ones who did said it was god-awful. Maybe not as god-awful as 31, but still pretty god-awful. I will continue to bash Rob Zombie until he stops making movies. Okay, that was a little over the top. The end sequence. I don't know if you could hear that. My neighbor's out inside coughing with his big fucking mouth. At the end, when Dwayne is hanging from the sign and the hookers are pointing at him and shit and saying, look, look. I think they were actually prostitutes. I'm pretty sure. And they really didn't have much to do, but what they were given or what they were told to do, they couldn't even do that. That was terrible.
Mr. White? It's the last door at the end of the hall.
I don't even remember.
Tell me about your cat. You said
Oh, this is okay. This is one of the more infamous scenes with the
let's take him into the next room.
what's her name? Dr. Lifflander, I think.
Just sit him there on the table.
This sounds 80 yard.
Well then, let's take a look at him.
Only it's not a cat.
I thought you
And
said.
I think I should explain how he got his cut before you see him. Another vet, Dr. Lifflander, operated
Oh, no.
upstate unsuccessfully.
Dr. Liftman.
Yes, you know him?
Ah, yes, I see. I'm beginning to understand now. You're that kid Needleman warned me about, the Bradley boy, the freak we separated.
See, this sounds.
What a pleasant surprise after all these years.
This doesn't sound 80 yard.
A great deal of trouble to find me. The question is why. I would assume it's to thank me.
To thank you?
Well, after all, I made you normal, didn't I?
You did it to kill my brother!
Oh, dear. Hostility. You've got 2 seconds to haul your ass out of my office. I'm not going to be threatened by some adolescent punk with a smoldering grudge unless you've grown something else you want to cut off. What's in the basket?
This scene with all the needles and shit in her face. You can kind of tell. You can kind of see the makeup from what I remember because her eyes look very sunken in because she's got so much makeup padding on because she needed a thick layer of fucking latex or whatever to keep everything in place. This is one of the more grisly scenes. I think this is one of the scenes that was cut for the theatrical cut. There was a theatrical cut, like I said before, that was censored, and it did poorly. It did so bad. And then they re-released it uncut, and it became a success. It became a midnight movie. And interestingly, and I don't know if this was when the movie was released censored or uncensored, but when the movie was released, you were given surgical masks as a gimmick. Like, it was, I guess he was trying to do, I guess he saw the success of John Waters copying the William Castle gimmick with polyester, doing the odorama. And so I guess Frank, Frank and John are admirers of each other and they're friendly. So all right. So yeah, you were given a surgical mask at the theater, and I think I could totally be making this up, but I think you might have gotten a vomit bag too. But I find it interesting that they were giving away surgical masks when in 2020 during the pandemic, we were at a point where it was very difficult to find surgical masks, and we really, really needed them.
I mean,
And you know that everybody who got a fucking surgical mask to see Basket Case threw it in the trash as soon as it was handed to them.
I want to be with you, Dwayne. I don't know why, especially after the way you acted yesterday, but you're the first person I thought of. The only person I thought of.
What?
Please don't cry. It's all right, really. Come on upstairs.
Why would he bring her upstairs?
They wanted me to identify the body until they saw how bad I was taking it. I don't understand why I'm this upset. I just am. And I don't know why I've been thinking of you. But it's all I did.
You want that
I've
dick?
been thinking of you all day.
Again, you want that dick?
God, Dwayne.
I think it's so funny, and this is a story that's been told a million fucking times too, but I think it's so funny that when they did the scene where I think her name is Terry Susan Smith is supposed to be sleeping, and I think Belial is supposed to be raping her. Or raping her by osmosis. I don't know, by her in her dreams or some shit like that. I don't know. The scene is all very weird and interconnected with those visions and visions of Belial and visions of Dwayne running down the street naked, which is exactly what I needed to see, his caveman bush. But yeah, when and Frank had said that he got the idea like at the very, very last second to just dribble blood or fake blood on her. And there were crew members who were so offended by it that they walked off the set. Really? You're so offended by that? This is like Thriller.
Dwayne, talk to me, please.
Belial wants Dwayne all to himself. So here it is, wait. She's all the way to the bottom of the steps, turns around, screams Dwayne, and then turns around and keeps on going. What the hell was that? That was an odd bit of direction. Yeah, while I like this movie, it's not my favorite. Well, Frankenhooker is obviously my favorite. I never get tired of Frankenhooker. I also like Brain Damage too, and Bad. I like all the movies, except for Chase and Banky, which again I haven't seen. Basket Case 3 is kind of rough. It's not great. And I know people do like Basket Case 2, but I'm kind of on it. It's okay. It's fine for what it is. And Frank must not be. Well, as we know that he's not too keen on part 3, but he must not have been too keen on part 2 either. I mean, I guess he likes it okay, because I don't think he's ever said anything bad about it. But for the steelbook that I have, the only extras or special features or commentaries or anything they're only on the first disc, and it's only for the first film. There's nothing on the discs for 2 and 3. No commentaries, no trailers, no anything. And when parts 2 and 3 were released to Blu-ray individually, he didn't have anything to do with them. He didn't do any commentaries, and I think it was only, I think Gabe did some interviews about the special effects, and somebody else who worked on the movie, like some crew member or something. I don't know, but I think there might be some featurette or some shit like that. But I'm almost positive that Frank had nothing to do with it. I think this is the scene when Dwayne is running down the street naked with his caveman bush. This is I don't. All that jiggling, he must have been sore after. Well, it was winter, so he must not have been jiggling all that much. Yeah, fuck that. I mean, I know I had said before that I would like to think that I would be a team player if I were doing a movie, especially a movie like this, because I love these kinds of movies and I have such respect for the people who make them. But if somebody said to me, okay, you're going to run down the street ass naked in the dead of winter, I would have to probably say no. And I don't know why they couldn't have waited until the summer to do this scene anyway, because fucking it took them a year to do it anyway. Why'd they have to wait until winter? And it's not just that it was cold out. The fucking street was cold too. Jesus, that must have been uncomfortable. I wonder if anybody finds that, because like I said, the fucking scene in part 2 with the Belial sex scene, which is very like puppet porno. I wonder if anybody finds the scene with Kevin running down the street erotic. If anybody got, boned up or a little moist seeing Kevin run down the street naked. I can tell you it sure as hell wasn't me. I think this is padding. This is really just padding, because I believe that the first cut of the film ran short. This sequence is going on way too fucking long. I think it's over now. And I don't even remember what he did. Did he kill her, or did that even? I don't even remember. And I still don't remember what her character's name is. Oh yeah, he is there. forgot he was actually there. Oh, and he's choking her. Yeah, because he wants Dwayne all to himself. I don't know. I guess that sequence of Dwayne running down the street was supposed to be... I don't know. It was supposed to be Belial or something. I doubt that he even had any real idea what it was intended to be at the time it was shot. Frank, that is. He could probably tell you now if you asked him. He'll probably have something prepared because he had 40 years to think of it. And I'm sure it's some very existential... Uh-oh. Now what the hell did he do? Did he go to her house and get Belial and bring him back? That sounds like it was added later. The first girl I ever kiss, you destroy her. Uh-oh. With such a low budget movie, this being such a low budget movie, and people really not knowing all that much of what they're doing, I don't think I would be all that trusting. Here comes the talentless hookers. Wait. Oh my god. Oh, girls, look at that. What's that? That is the full... That's like the epitome. Are you okay up there? Really? Yeah, I don't think I would trust them to have me tethered to this sign. But I think Kevin or Frank said that he got up there by stepping onto a van, so I don't think it was as high as it looked. But I think there are some... Oh. So they fell. They were clearly supposed to be dead. But I think there are some shots from far away of them hanging. So, yeah, I wouldn't... Yeah, they were totally supposed to be dead. Frank never intended for a basket case too. I don't even remember exactly if he said why he decided to do it. Are the credits rolling? I can't even tell. I think they are. Alright. So we're gonna wrap it up. Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up. So, that was Frank Henenlotter's cult classic, Basket Case. I don't know how well it holds up. Nevertheless, thank you for staying with me to the bitter end. And until next time, this is Brandon Ford wishing you all unpleasant dreams.